Hey everyone, and welcome to Back to Basics, where we get right to the point and back to the basics. So today in Back to Basics, we're going to talk about one of the most important things in bass playing, which is how to play chords on bass. So unlike guitar or piano, where usually you would play the chords in a harmonic way, meaning playing the notes all together, in the bass we usually play the chords in a melodic way. Today we're going to talk about triad chords. Triad chords, just like their name, have three notes. They have the 1, which is the root note, the 3, and the 5, which changes depending on what chord we're playing. We're going to talk about 4 chords. We have the major, we have the minor, and then we're going to mention the augmented and diminished, even though most cases you will see mostly major and minor chords. So without further ado, let's get back to how do we play chords on bass. So let's start with the major chords. So the major chord is built from 1, 3, and 5. Now, we're going to take C just for an example, but I'll show you how you can do it in any single note on the bass and not break your head with, what are the notes of those chords? So we're going to start with C. For the major chord, we're going to start with our second finger, because we're going to get to the major third, a string after that, the next string with our first finger, 1 fret above, and then we're going to go to the 5th, which will be 3 frets below, and in this case it's our G. So again, we have the 1, in this case the C, then the major third, then we have the 5th, the perfect 5th, okay? Now, I take this triad as a triad. Look at this shape. It has the shape of a triangle. If you look at this and you do the little game, connect the dots, this is, for me, is totally a triangle, and this is how I remember this. This is the shape. Now, once you have this shape, here's the magic thing. You can take it anywhere in your bass, as long as you know what the root note is and where the root note is, and as long as you have at least 2 strings, right? Because this shape demands 2 strings, the first one, and then we go to the next one to play that shape. Meaning, we could do it on the E string, A string, D string, but we can't do it on the G string because we're missing that shape, right? So you can take it anywhere in those 3 strings, and the magic is you don't have to know the notes, right? So I can, if I want to play a triad of C, just a major triad, I want it to be G sharp. I just need to know that this is G sharp. I want to play a major D, a major B. All of these are major triad, and because I have the shape, all I really need to know is where the root note is, and then I can play the whole chord. Now, of course, it's helpful to know the notes when you play the chords, but as a starting point, if you just want to jam with your friends, this is something that could really help you be a little bit more imaginative than just playing the root note, but also like not going around and looking for what are the notes that could work for this, right? Next, we have the minor triad chord. So the minor triad chord is 1, flat 3, and 5, and that changes our shape a little bit. So we're going to start with our first finger, because now that we're playing the minor third, the flat third, we're going to play 3 frets up with our pinky, and then we're going to go up to the G, which is the same G, the same perfect 5th as before, but because we're coming for it in a different way, we're going to use our ring finger, a 3rd finger, to play it. So we have, again, the 1, the flat 3rd, and the 5th. Now, what's cool about this triad is, again, we have a triangle, just a different triangle, right? So for me, again, connect the dots. I just remember the shape as being this triangle, right? Same exact thing if I want to take it around the globe, right? G minor, we have C sharp minor, we have B flat minor. Like for us, we have this advantage because we don't necessarily need to know the chords to play those really, really difficult chords on, guitar or piano. So again, you can take that shape everywhere. Now, how do you recognize those 2 shapes? If you see music sheet and you have just the letter C, F, G, D sharp, B flat, A flat, any of those, without any numbers after that, that means that it's a major triad. How do we recognize the minor triads? It would be a letter followed by a lowercase m. So for example, DM or GM or FM, they all stand for D minor, G minor, F minor. And then when you see that, you know that this triad would work. When you see just a letter, you know that this triad would work. Now, some chords that you may not see too much in pop music, but are very important to know, and now that we're talking about triads, it's the time to mention them, is the augmented and the diminished. So if we want to play the augmented, we start with the shape of the major. We start with the 1 and the 3. But because it's augmented, we have a sharp 5, meaning we don't go to the 5 that we were in before. We stretch a little further for that sharp 5. And it has this kind of like eerie, magical, suspenseful, answer adjective vibe to it, right? So this is the augmented, and again, you can take it everywhere. It's a little harder because you need to stretch a little bit more, but I think that this is the most comfortable way to play it. And when we're talking about diminished, it's more related to the minor than the major. So we start with the minor shape. We start with the 1 and the flat 3. And this shape is specifically a little easier because we just need to reach to that flat 5. So the flat 5 will be just half a step down from the 5. And again, we have this suspenseful, like dramatic sense in it, and you can hear it, you can see it. That's the beauty of like these chords. We may not be playing them harmonically, but when you lay them out as a melody, it still has this like more intense feeling of what it is. Like we really help to not only show what the root note is and what the bass is and, you know, whatever rhythm we're doing, we're also really showing the characteristics of the music that we're playing. And it's nice to have a little bit more selection than just playing the root note. So for me, this is back to basics, really the most helpful thing to see, because now you can take it, put it anywhere, go and jam with your friends. You can go, you know how to create these chords from just reading them on a music sheet, as letters, of course. And we're going to use those chords going forward with the videos when I'm going to keep on bringing some cool tracks for you to use, for you to use, to play, to practice, and to enjoy. And then when you see those, you will be able to interpret the music sheet a little bit more, especially once you learn the notes in those triads and put them to use well. So hopefully this helped you. Thank you so much for tuning in to our first Back to Basics video. Watch out, because there's going to be another video coming soon, and we're going to talk about warm-ups, and we will mention triads and many more good things. So until then, see you soon.